Hi, everybody. Mr. Schmidt here. Only have 5 minutes. Just wanted to go over Unit 3 with you. Remember, Unit 3 is a long unit, 1929 to 1945. Um, you need to read all the content. I would take about 3 hours just to go through activities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because what you're responsible for handing in is activity 7 and 8, which comes at the very end. But if you don't understand the economic Great Depression that starts in 1929 and the associated political tension that leads to totalitarianism in Europe and leads to the rise of Hitler. And then if you don't understand Canadian responses to that and its changing identity as a nation that's dependent on Britain, that's already fought in a war that you looked at in the other units, but now has this new dimension of tension in Europe that it needs to react to. If you don't have that background, you're not going to be able to do Activity 7. So tip number 1, read all the content. Keep the end in mind. There's one question that this unit is dealing with. How did Canadians react to extreme problems from 1929 to 1945? That's very general, but you're going to have to choose your own adventure at the end of this. So Activity 7 explores some of the biggest atrocities of the 20th century. Very difficult, really, and a tough, dark period of time to read about, but that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be reading about the European Holocaust, Holodomor, and Japanese atrocities. All of these are dark realities of the 20th century and experiences by great numbers of people and trauma that remains relevant to people's well into this century. Okay, so all you're doing for that is you're filling out this. Let me see if I can find it for you. You're filling out this one worksheet for Activity 7. And it's asking you to make evaluations as usual. You might have noticed that this course is all about evaluating the significance of. How significant is this? How many people were impacted? How far reaching? All answers that if you're a math major make you pull out your hair because you're like, well, there is no right answer. And that's true. There's no real right answer, but there are better and worse answers. And your job is to be as articulate as possible in trying to measure to what extent these things are significant. So take this seriously uh, and hand it in. Justification in history is always important. Justification means you saying, based on this evidence, here's all the evidence, and that's why I was able to say that, as opposed to you saying, well, I just said this because it was the easiest thing to say, and I felt like saying it. We need to like have a measured approach to facts and narratives. Okay, and then the last thing you're going to do in this unit, which is the culminating, um, it's kind of a choose your own adventure where you're answering this question, but you're doing it in the form of a photo essay. And the steps that are outlined for you are quite specific, but it's going to be based on you writing a thesis. And if you have a good thesis, you will do well. So remember, from your paragraphs, I was very critical of some of your theses and your topic sentences because you did not make them complex. If you don't know what a complex thesis is, it's basically recognizing that there are two sides to every story and that your thesis needs to acknowledge it. And I gave a lot of people in my commentary the formula, although X, then Y. And if you have a thesis that's complex like that, it's probably going to be more successful and more detailed, as opposed to just making a statement. Yes, Canada did progress during this period, not very complex. Although there are many examples of Canada's decline during this period, such as the way these people, X people, were treated, and this, I would also argue that Canada progressed because of these events, X, Y, Z. That is a complex thesis, and that's what's going to do well. So you can email me about that. Um, I'm going to run out of time, as always, but let me just show you. Have this. I got 29 seconds. This is activity 8. This is your culminating. It says step 1, you must choose a narrative lens. So you should choose one of these, right? Any of these topics. And then step 2 is you need to choose historical perspectives within it. So that means you're trying to find as many voices as possible to include in your evaluation. And then the third step is to find the pictures. Good luck, everyone.